Hello and welcome to my video on Doctor Who Death to the Daleks. In this video we will be checking out Death to the Daleks, which is one of my personal favourite Doctor Who's, and considering I've just got actual DVD, I think it's an appropriate moment. The programme starts with the Doctor and Sarah going to a planet. We're going to a sunbathing planet. Sarah says that she'll probably sink, but the Doctor said they will airlift her with the bubbles. They get to the planet Exelon, where they find a crew of Earth space colonists trying to find beryllium, which will cure the space plague. And they're having problems with the natives, the Exelons, which once were a very advanced race, but now, unfortunately, have gone into decline. The episode ends with a cliffhanger with a load of Daleks coming out of the ship and firing on them undefenseless. But they also find out that the Daleks have us being subject to the same power failure that they have, so they form an uneasy alliance. The Daleks and the humans try to turn off the beacon at the city, with the alliance getting more and more fragile as the episode wears on. One thing I would like to say about the Daleks in this episode is their voices. They sound so unpubertised. They're like, "Hello! Exterminate! Exterminate!" like that. And it's absolutely ridiculous. They sound like, basically 8-year-olds. So, they sound basically like 8-year-olds. Anyway, the Sarah gets captured by the native Exelons, where she is subjected to sacrificial ceremony, and she nearly does get sacrificed, but the Doctor steps in and saves her. The Daleks, meanwhile, in their ship, have found a weapon that isn't subject to the power failure and come and attack the Exelons. Then the Exelons are basically all slaughtered, and they come to an agreement with the High Priest, saying that the Daleks will use them for slave labour and then they won't kill them. I think this episode is pretty good. I think the CGI effects are especially good for the worm, for the root, which eventually ends up killing 2 Daleks, but nearly kills the Doctor. I think those are very good CG effects, even though they're probably not CG, except for one bit where you can see the wire. I think John Pertwee does very well in this episode, considering he actively hates the Daleks and finds them primitive. It is quite a well-structured episode, apart from the costumes of some of the Exelons, where you can clearly see their bodies underneath them. At the end of it, the Daleks have all the beryllium they need, but have all the beryllium they need, or so they think. But Sarah has swapped all the beryllium with sand, which is a clever plan. Then one of the Earth crew hides on board the ship and blows himself up to save them all, which is a very brave act, because the Daleks were going to fire a plague missile onto Exelon, preventing any further gathering of beryllium, which is a very good idea on the subject of the Daleks. Unfortunately for the Daleks, as I have already mentioned, it was covered in sand and their ship got blown up, so the mission wasn't really a success. May I say that Elizabeth Sladen was slightly scantily dressed at the start of the episode, which I didn't particularly like, but that's my personal opinion on not 19-year-old. Why was I going to say 19-year-old? I don't know. Of a rather young child. At the moment, in this particular picture, you are seeing a worm and the thing that's blowing up the Dalek. The worm is attached to the city and sort of protects it, and I don't particularly like the costumes of the antibodies. And also the 4th room that the Doctor and his companion went in, and his Doctor and can't remember the name of this guy, but he went in. I don't understand what his purpose was, apart from clearly making the guy pull a gun on the picture, which he didn't even end up shooting. And the insanity in that wasn't even any insanity at all. He didn't even know if it would work. I mean, it was kind of rubbish. The insanity room and the special effects, all it was a couple of flashing lights. I don't understand how that's threatening at all, but sometimes these writers are very stupid. Also, I'm not criticising Terry Nation here, but I think it was Terry Nation. Please don't hate on me if it isn't Terry Nation. The bit where the Daleks go across, try and solve the maze, I don't understand how they can, since they don't have hands. I don't know how they do that. So my final score for this episode is 8 out of 10 because it is all around pretty good.